What's up, people? For this week's podcast, I sat down in LA with my friend Eric to talk about his life as a comedian and other randomness. I met him many years ago when he was doing some shows down here in San Diego, and all these years later, he was actually one of the main reasons that I got this podcast going. He's got jokes, and he's just a nice human being. He made me some amazing cinnamon tea to sip on for this podcast. And when I was about to leave after recording, he sent me home with a fancy bag of tea and offered me some B12 because I was feeling drowsy. You know who does that? Nice people. That's who. So make sure to check him out at a show or on the internets after listening. Now, with all that said, I hope you enjoy this conversation I had with Eric Schwartz.
You should always roll on the podcast.
You just sat down.
No, yeah.
You just sat down. I wasn't ready.
Because then you get people, when they're not thinking they're on the podcast, really being themselves. You really capture them.
That's
true.
true.
You really capture their essence.
Yeah.
Because they don't know they're being recorded.
I know.
And when they be recorded, then they're like, oh, hi, how's it going? Now I'm on a podcast. I know you recorded. See, that's why I'm doing bits now.
That's why you changed it? Yeah.
Yeah, I know you started.
I
saw your finger just
I know it was pretty obvious.
flick the switch. But what I was saying, you guys missed it that are listening on the podcast. I was flowing.
Yeah, it was pretty legit, actually.
I said, I flow like gravity, never had a cavity, got more lines than the wine has got family.
Hey.
Who's that from? Do you know? It's my favorite group.
No, I don't know.
A Tribe Called Quest, Fife Dog, rest in peace.
Oh, dang, dude. I didn't know you were like that.
What?
I didn't know you were like that. You in that Tribe Called Quest?
Dude, Tribe Called Quest
Mhm.
is the best hip-hop group of all time.
When I met you, you was what? Smooth E. You still doing that?
I don't really go by Smoothie anymore because, Eric Schwartz is it's a lot more flashy for the stage. I felt like Smoothie was so ordinary and I really needed something to grab people's attention. And so I made up this name, Eric Schwartz. And I was like, that's it. It's got a ring to it.
That name's going to pop.
Yeah.
That's
it's really good pop. Yeah, it really is. And because, sometimes people, and actually I had somebody recently list me under a pseudonym for on the comedy club for one of my upcoming shows, but they mix it up. They were trying to put Smoothie, but they put Easy E. And
that's a totally different thing is what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told them like 4 times, can you take that off? Can you please take that off? And then they're like, why? And I'm like, he's a dead rapper from NWA.
Yeah,
rest in peace.
Not me is who that is.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't use Smoothie anymore, really.
Yeah.
I mean, not that if somebody's going to refer to me that way,
sure,
I would respond.
That's just funny. That's how long ago I met you that you were still using that.
Oh, I mean, I stopped using it like this week, but but back then I was using
actually
it
just
too.
right when we started recording this podcast.
Yeah,
I stopped
I was like,
using it.
I choose for this hour to forego the name.
Eric Schwartz.
Eric Schwartz, yeah.
Yeah.
You could, if you really
want
want
like that. I don't know why.
Well, because I scratch it when I say it, and
Is
sometimes
that why it's stuck
I
in
go,
my brain that way?
Eric Schwartz, yeah, Eric Schwartz. So sometimes when people see me, they go Eric Schwartz. They go Eric Schwartz. But it's really, and it's also my Instagram handle and my my Instagram is Eric Schwartz, and that's just Eric Schwartz with 3 E's.
There's multiple E's.
That's how it's
you're right.
pronounced. Yeah, it's EEERIC.
Okay, I didn't know if that was because that name was already taken.
Right. Yes, that's why. But then I was like, that is why. But then I put it with 3 E's,
reason.
and now it makes sense to my branding.
Yeah.
Eric Schwartz.
Branding. You're good at all that stuff.
Well,
I feel like you got that Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff on kind of lock. You figured it out.
I feel like branding is the corporate word for matching, or like making sense.
Sure.
Or like having
people find
everything tie back in when you're writing, It's your thesis statement if you're a student.
Yes.
That's kind of like your brand, I guess. But it sounds so cold saying brand.
It does. It does sound a little bit corporate.
It sounds non-creative.
But it's true. Everybody's creating brands nowadays. It's the thing.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you're on top of all that stuff. You always seem like you're busy. You're posting. You're always on the hot topics of the moment.
I try to make the content delicious for the consumer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always try to make as much sense or like be as palatable or be as easily digestible without being stupid as possible. I want them to get it. I want them to really understand what I'm trying to say. So maybe that's what comes across
Yeah.
of being like well branded or something. But it's just like I'm trying to be clear. I'm trying to make myself clear.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been doing comedy. It's hard to really say,
Yeah.
but I think the first time I ever did stand up comedy, I was 19 years old.
Oh,
I was first time I ever did it was on a family vacation on a cruise, and they had a talent show. They're
on
like,
a
sign up.
cruise.
Yeah, they're like, sign up, and I signed up. My dad helped me write my act, and it was it was really bad. But the first joke went well, the second joke bombed, and the third joke ended strong. So
Oh.
yeah,
So you left them wanting more.
yeah. I don't know if they wanted more. I wanted more.
So that's not always what you wanted to do, or was it?
When I was growing up, like in high school, I was a big fan of comedy, and I would like recite comedy to like stand up to my friends on the pool deck. I was a swimmer, and I would do like characters from Saturday Night Live, and my friends would laugh and they would say, "You should be a comedian." And I'd be like, "I don't know how to do. I don't know. I don't have any of my own material."
Yeah.
So then I just started writing stuff down. I'm like, hey, maybe that'd be funny. Maybe that'd be funny. And then finally, when I tried to do it, I was, I was 19. I actually that summer had done an internship for radio because I loved radio as well. And I was doing characters on the radio and stuff like that. And so I was, that all that summer, I was like getting my chops up, doing some performance and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that was like my first like intro into comedy. And then when I was in college, I did it like I just did my own shows at school. I would put on my own like coffee house night. We would call it. It would be like an open mic night, and I would host it. Everyone would sign up, and everyone would show up because their friends would want to see them perform.
Yeah.
And then so really the first couple years of doing comedy, I just was like isolated at school in college. I never had any any comedy clubs around there. I went to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, so there were no comedy clubs there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't really get exposed to other comedians or other comedy clubs until about 2 years in when I came back to LA. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
then, yeah.
So you had to create your own opportunities at first.
Yeah. Actually, I still do that.
Yeah.
Constantly. Yeah.
So on that hustle.
Yeah, you have to be. Yeah. You have to be. Even, I've always noticed, like, if you create your own opportunities, that's the only way you'll succeed. You have to create your own opportunities. Even if you have, I feel like when like talent, when we always say we want to sign with an agent or a manager or have somebody, take us to the promised land, basically is what we think is going to happen. But then I examined the phrase making it. When am I going to make it? I asked myself one day. I go, when am I going to make it? When am I going to make it? And then I was like, oh yeah, listen to what I'm saying. When am I going to make it?
Oh, I get it.
I have to create my own opportunity.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. That's really interesting. And it's like, what do you define as making it? How do you define that? Because you support yourself off of this.
Yeah, I guess you really don't ever want to make it because then that means you're complacent and you don't have any other goal.
Yeah, and then you're like, where do I go? That's a detriment to a lot of people.
Yeah.
When they get to this place, they had this one very specific goal, and they said, okay, well, when I get to this, then I've made it. This is the pinnacle. And then they go, well, this is where I'm at. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what do I do? And then people freak out.
I guess in some ways I have made it according to, what my former self thought.
Yeah.
Like my former self was like, I just want to be able to headline at the improvs. And I do that all the time now, and or like, I just want to go out on the road as a headliner. I just want to whatever it is. And I've accomplished a lot of those goals.
That's weird. Do you write them down so that you can recognize when you've done them?
I do,
or
but
just sneak up on you. We're like, oh, I accidentally did it.
My goals can change like almost from day to day.
Yeah.
Like my goals change all the time. So I feel like it is important to write. It's important to write all the time. So you kind of keep stock of what you're feeling right now.
For sure. I feel like I forget. I'll make goals. And then if I don't, like, I've started to write them down.
Hmm.
So I'll write them down and then I look at them a year later, and everything that I wrote down a year ago, I'm technically doing. But I wouldn't have noticed that had I not written that down. I would have still thought that I hadn't made as much progress.
So you're saying your writing is like it's almost like history.
Yeah.
It's
I
almost
must just
like
have a poor memory, is what we're. I must just not be able to remember very well.
well, yeah. Well, there's just like a timeline of or like a record of like
Yeah.
okay.
I say, in this moment,
Hmm.
what are my goals? What am I aiming for? And then I'll leave that alone. And then I'll come back to it.
How often do you read
Okay.
back on your old journals or whatever?
I'm trying to do like once every 6 months
Okay.
ish. Trying to do something like that. Or if I'm questioning whether I'm making enough forward movement,
Yeah.
I look back to see what I've done.
Like, is it one
I'm
of
a
those?
list. I'm a list maker now.
You're a list maker,
Yeah, my phone. You should see it. It's full of lists.
and
It's
then pretty
ridiculous.
soon on your list is like go through the lists. That's going to be on your list.
Remind yourself to go through the list. Yeah, well, that's the one thing about lists is I used to make them all the time when I was younger, but I'd never refer to them ever.
I also feel like if you write something every day or if you write something often, it's just in your consciousness more because
Sure.
you've
You're drawing attention.
done a physical thing where you've taken a pen and you put it on a paper and you have made something that's more permanent than digital,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you put it on a paper and it's like you are hereby inscrawling on a permanent piece of matter
Yep.
something
If you're
that
physically
matters.
writing it.
Yeah, you're writing on a matter because it matters to you.
True.
Yeah,
It's weird to write things down now. It does make it feel more solid.
yeah. I mean, really, if you sometimes you haven't written for a while and you try to write again, like
Does your
by
hand
hand.
cramp up?
No, but it's like,
Mine
what are you
does.
doing? It feels like it feels like a foal that was just born and
Oh, it's
it
all
doesn't have his
clumsy.
legs. Yeah, it's very clumsy.
It's all clumsy, like you're trying to write with your left hand.
Yeah, and I don't know how to stand up because I just was dropped out of my mom,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh.
like a baby foal.
I got a weird visual on that. I got a strange
Yeah,
visual on that.
that's what I wanted.
That's interesting. So, what is your creative process like?
Well, that
Does it
writing.
require a lot of handwriting?
Yeah, I try to write by hand a lot, as much as I can. More and more, though, I've been skipping that and just going straight to the computer, which is dangerous. I always try to keep it. I know I'm more creative off the computer, and you know what the most important thing for me in the creative process is to not judge myself.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
If I'm being super judgmental, I can't get anywhere.
yeah,
I just stare at a blank page and I write 4 words and then I erase them.
right. And it's a practice. That's a practice. That's a muscle. That's a muscle of like if you're in the practice of not censoring yourself or I mean that censor's always going to be there in your brain. That's your monster, right?
Yep.
I read this book called The Artist's Way and they describe it as the censor, the monster in your head that always tells you you're not good enough or you're not enough or whatever. If you can just dare to suck, as one of my acting teachers, Leslie Kahn, famously says,
Mm-hmm.
dare to suck. And what happens is when you start molding that clay, then you start you chisel it more. You get it, you mold it even more, and finally, one day you'll be branded.
That's how you
You
get
be
to
very
branding.
clear. That's how you get to branding. No, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
trial and error, and just that exercise. I always like liken creativity to working out. You know, it's a muscle
Different
that
muscle, the
yeah,
mental muscle. Mm-hmm.
and you get strong. You just definitely get strong. The more and more you do something, you can't draw for a year straight and not improve, right? If you
Yep.
drew one picture every day for 20 minutes or drew something every day for 20 minutes, there's no way that in 365 days you're not going to be better at drawing,
Yeah.
right?
Draw a little cow every day.
Right. Your cow's
It's
going to be
gonna
off the
get-
chain.
It's going to get clean looking eventually. It's going to
It's
look
going to be
real good.
super branded.
Yeah. You're gonna have a branded cow by the end of it.
Yeah.
That's so funny. See, what I realized that I had to do, because I'm super judgmental of everything that I do, especially like writing,
Mhm.
I have to throw myself into like a free write where
Okay.
I just I'm just emptying my
That's
brain,
it.
right?
That's it.
I'm just throwing words. It's not supposed to be good. It's not supposed to be good. That's what I tell myself.
Right.
It doesn't have to be good. It's just whatever's coming out of your brain.
Yes.
I do that for like probably about 5 pages of
Mhm.
typed page.
Typed.
Yeah, I do a typed page because otherwise, my hand's too slow to keep up with my brain now.
Oh,
if I'm
really?
free writing.
Hmm.
And that's just, because you're just throwing thought
Oh, I
on
thought you were going to talk about when my hand is too slow for my brain.
oh.
I have a different experience, but go on.
So, but yeah, so I'll do that. And then what happens when I do that free write is that I can tell kind of what topics are floating around in my brain.
Hmm.
And then from that, I can pull a topic and then I'll give myself somewhere to go from there.
There
That's
you
how I
go.
get from
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to write. Like if
Yeah.
I have to write something and I'm like, I don't know what I'm writing because I'm not aware of what's going on in my own head.
You
That's
just
how I
go
find it.
0 to 100 real quick.
That's how I do it.
That's how Drake wrote that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of like different versions of it. He was like, I go nothing to something in rapidity, in a rapid motion. Nah, that's not good. And then he was like, I go 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. Nah. Finally, he came up with 0 to 100 real quick.
And then
And
it
it's
was
like
perfect.
that's the thing.
That's how you do it. Yeah,
But
because you got to get past the blank page.
Right. The morning pages is what the artist way talks about. And so you're supposed to do 3 pages every morning and a free form, just like don't censor yourself, write almost as fast as you can is what it says. Like, right. Don't
because
stop.
then you bypass the conscious mind, right? It has to go to the subconscious thoughts tucked away in the back that you've been ignoring.
It's almost a meditation. They say it's a form of meditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
I totally do that.
Totes.
Totally.
Why do I say that? I never say that.
Because you live in LA?
I never said that before.
Is that a thing?
I just
bring out the word totes in you? That's not good.
You know why? It's
I don't
because
even
I
say
wasn't
totes.
censoring myself. I was like, why not? Let's try it. Let's see what happens.
Because you're free.
Yeah. And then I censored myself real quick. And I was like, I never say that.
You wanted people to know it.
Yeah. Because I felt like that was stupid to say and I didn't want people to judge me. So I judged myself real quick. Yeah. See?
Because when you take ownership of it, like it doesn't matter. People make fun of you now. Because you're like, I said it was silly. So there.
Yeah. So don't judge me, people. I already judged myself. Too late. I took it. I took the opportunity. You can have it.
Self-deprecating humor.
Yeah, that's why I shaved my head so people couldn't make fun of me for going bald anymore. I'm like, look, I'm already bald. Too late.
Sorry. Play it up. Play it up, dude.
Right.
Why not? Do you mind being bald?
Do you mind me being bald?
No.
Okay, good. Then I don't mind being bald.
What if
you
I
said
said
it like
yes
it's a
there?
bad thing.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
No, I think here's what happens when guys go bald. The reason that it's like a little bit of maybe taboo in our world. It happens to I don't know what the percentage is, but every guy's hair thins at some level in their life. And it scares us because our hair is part of our identity.
True. Heavily true.
Yeah.
Speaking as a woman.
Like now, like when I look at people and they go, "Oh, my hair's messed up," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like it looks almost the same as when it's perfect.
Yeah, that's me every day of my life.
And I used to be like that. I used to be like, "Oh, dude, my hair's messed up. I gotta do my hair."
Yeah.
And like if one thing was like out of whack, like one little strand or one piece was like going the wrong way, I would think everyone else would see that it's wrong. But like, people don't even look at you that carefully.
We're looking so much harder at the little tiny details of ourselves than anybody else would ever think to do.
Yeah, because you've seen you more than anybody.
I know. I've seen me in every way, up close, all day, all the time. You know what I mean?
In those hotel mirrors that flip over and magnify, you've looked at yourself in that for minutes, hours, maybe.
Yeah, it's so funny. Somebody was like, every time you pass a mirror, you look into it. I was like, yeah, I'm not admiring. I'm checking to make sure everything's okay. I'm just.
You should admire.
Haven't gotten to that place in life yet, where I can just sit there and admire. I'm checking on stuff.
Right.
But yeah, like we're very meticulous about things. Now I want to see a picture of you with hair.
Okay.
I've never seen it. Oh, it's on the phone?
I'm adorable. Here. Sometimes I have dreams about having hair again. I'm like, yes, I have so many options now.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, look, I like being bald now. I mean, it's so much easier.
You're super
You don't have to worry about it. I feel like when I was thinning out and people could see I was going bald, it was confusing to people. Like, does he know? Or am I supposed to think he has hair or not? But now that it's another thing of branding. It really is.
Yeah.
Let me Google Eric Schwartz with hair, see what comes up.
Oh.
See if somebody, because I wouldn't have put that up. Somebody else would have had to put that up in the search terms. Eric Schwartz, and that means I have fans that remember me from back then. Eric Schwartz with hair. Let's see what happens when you pull that up. Okay, here's one from like, I'm already going bald though in this, but this is like 2004.
Okay. Okay. Now I can envision it.
What do you like
2004.
better? That's
Bald for sure.
yeah, because this is like, well, I look like a total dork here too in this picture. You guys can't see it out there, but
I'll put that on the Instagram post.
it was
that picture.
stupid. Don't put that. It's actually on Netflix. It's the Chocolate Sundays live on Sunset Strip. I did like a little 3-minute set on there. Kevin Hart's on it, and Cat Williams, and all these really great comedians. And I'm doing like a 3-minute thing.
Oh, that's cool.
And it has like here's when I was right before I started shaving my head. So I have like a little shadow
Sure.
of hair.
Because it feels like this is the point where most men just decide to shave, right? Because you just own it.
Right.
You just got to own it.
Own it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But, my sunscreen bills have gone up through the roof.
Oh, I bet. I should wear sunscreen. I don't.
You got to wear sunscreen, man.
I don't do that. I think I'm a little vitamin D deficient right now, actually. I'm never in the sun.
I have some IUs in my cupboard. You're here at my house, by the way.
That's where I am.
I have people to know, like, why would I have vitamin D on hand?
I just carry it around just in case.
No, I'm telling you guys, Courtney Diamond is amazing. She brings a studio in a little backpack. She has...
in a tiny little backpack, too. No, that's pretty funny, too.
But it's like a complete studio. Like, you have microphone arms so that, like, you clipped them onto my table.
Yeah.
So it's like a broadcast mic stand, mic clip with your Zoom recorder. You have your cables. You got all this stuff. So yeah, it's a pro setup.
I tried.
Pro mobile setup.
Pro mobile, exactly. I was like, how do I get this super mobile and easy? The idea of bringing my laptop with me was like, no.
Yeah.
No thanks.
The technology has gotten so good. Like I used to travel because I have to sometimes do voiceover demos and stuff like on the road. So I have to travel, or if I'm just going to record a song on the road or whatever, I'd have to travel with like an audio interface, which is like, something you can record or put a recording mic through into your computer. So I always travel with my computer, and then I would have to bring this audio interface and then a nice condenser microphone, which is like a pretty big microphone. And so I would have to bring a lot of stuff. And now it's getting a little smaller, but still I always want to be prepared for whatever happens.
For whatever. I know when I saw you last week and you're like, you didn't bring your stuff in your car? I was like, no, what are you talking about? I thought I was going to see you for like 20 minutes.
Oh, when I saw you last week?
In San Diego, yeah.
Oh, right.
I thought there was going to be a couple minutes.
Yeah, you could record a podcast in a car.
Yeah, I could.
It's like
technically
a sound booth.
That's very true.
You could do that.
Ideas now.
Yeah, I've done recording in a car before. Like I've done like voiceover stuff in a car because it sounds really good.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, you got to just be careful about like cars going by, but like if you're on a quiet street,
you just got to take people to really creepy remote areas to record on, overlooking. Yeah. You get maybe a nice view, go to an overlook.
And then, sounds romantic. Sounds good. Why didn't we do the podcast there, Courtney?
I didn't know where to find an overlook. I don't know my way around LA as much as I should.
Oh yeah, Mulholland. I'll take you up there. Mm-hmm. It's right here. It's close to here.
Oh really?
Yeah. Like I don't like my place is not. It's not romantic enough. We have to go outside and then go to, overlook.
You're like hit pause, wait for nighttime.
Yeah, and we'll start. We'll start again.
That's so ridiculous.
Well, I'm looking at your podcast and I'm like, you've told me that you wanted to do this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to do it. You got to do this.
You're a main motivator.
I was?
Yeah. And me getting started?
Heck yeah.
Sure. Because we had that conversation at the comedy club when you were down in San Diego.
Yeah.
And you told me.
Oh my God.
That I might
sometimes I help people. I feel so good.
That's when I started doing all my little research about all this studio crazy stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So I could figure out what I needed.
See, a lot of people talk and then they never go through with it. And like you totally went through with it, like to a level
I super went through with it.
beyond what I thought you would do. Because look at these. I'm talking about these recording arms. Talk about these studio arms, bringing your whole full studio. You're a very technical person. Where I mean, and I hate to say, I don't mean to sound sexist or anything, but a lot of female humans are not tech savvy, or this kind of not. I want to say tech savvy, audio. You don't
Yeah.
see a lot of female audio engineers.
Yeah, I guess not.
You just don't in the U.S. I worked with one actually last week and she was awesome at the show, and I'm seeing them more now. I'm seeing more like females in like technical like audio and video and stuff like that. When I was in India, a lot of females, like it wasn't a gender thing. It
Yeah.
was when I did shows in India.
India, that's
Yeah.
surprising.
Yeah, because they were like, it was actually, I probably worked with like equal number of males and females to do like audio and stuff like that out there. It was interesting.
You're doing shows out in India?
Yeah, I went out there and there was like, okay, I'll say what I say in my show.
Okay. I'm ready.
I say, okay, I don't want to like, I don't want to do material on you, but
You're like, but I'm gonna.
okay, this is what I say. I go, I went out to India. The people were so nice. There were pictures of me everywhere. They were like, no, that's Gandhi. That's how I opened my shows in India. And then I go, look at this, man. I'm on the money. And I pull out a dollar bill, and it's Gandhi on the money.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Does that get him?
Yeah, I was like, can you break this? Because I want to be the change. So, yeah, that's
pretty clever.
thanks.
That's pretty
I try to
clever.
do it. I
Yeah.
try.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so India to do the shows a couple of years ago with this guy Veer Das. If you haven't heard of him, he was just named as one of Variety magazine's top comedians to watch in 2017, which is huge for a guy from India. He's the biggest comedian in India right now, like out of India, a native Indian.
Yeah.
Who he in the 2 years ago we did his comedy festival called the Pajama Comedy Festival, and it was his
Sounds
second.
comfortable.
Yeah, it was really comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wore some pajamas. I did get in the spirit. I wore some pajamas, but it was amazing. Like I think the difference between India and the U.S. when it comes to comedy, as far as the comedians, is that a lot of comedians get into comedy here because of the lifestyle of, I can get drunk and smoke weed and then wake up at the crack of noon and then go do a show at night, like
Yeah.
kind of be what's that word, like I don't want to say lazy, but like
Oh, that's a.
it's like that lifestyle, whatever that lifestyle is. You could be very creative and do a lot of
It's kind of
things
just it's a free lifestyle where you're controlling your own time.
where you're kind of you're
Do what
kind
you
of
want.
drifting or gliding. I'm not saying all comedians are like that, because of obviously I am the antithesis of that, but there are some people, a good number of comedians that get into it, I feel like, because they love that lifestyle, they want that lifestyle. But in India, what I saw generally, if you were going to stereotype the Indian comedian, it's somebody that's like an engineer or like a doctor or like somebody who is very, very educated, who just loves to do comedy and wants like that who wants to exercise their creativity. And
Yeah.
they're super, like, they did this comedy festival with us, like 120 shows in 5 cities in 2 weeks or something. And I was like, that they were so organized, and they all worked together. They all supported each other, which is harder to find here in the U.S. So I really admired the way that they conducted themselves, and that they were so high functioning, as opposed to a lot of
Yeah.
comedians in the U.S. And they, a lot of
It's not so much about the lifestyle as they just wanted that outlet.
yeah, they just loved the craft, but they were also very like organized people and
Yeah.
high functioning people, and didn't have egos. I didn't notice anybody with an ego out there.
Yeah.
You
Opposite of LA.
Yeah, I mean, you can find. Hey, I know there are plenty of great
Sure.
comedians that are hardworking, and but they're Also, there's just a bigger pool of people out here that do comedy. Comedy's new over there. It's, less than a decade old out there. So yeah, I just feel like out here in the US, the stereotype or the archetype actually of a comedian is somebody who's damaged and
Yeah.
sad and smokes weed all day and sits on the couch all day and does nothing until that 10 minutes at night or that 1 hour at night where they go out and they do their
Yeah.
show. I'm not like that at all. Like
No, you
I'm
don't seem to carry any darkness.
I mean,
You're very light.
look, everyone does. Everyone has their darkness and I have,
Sure, but you seem like a very well-adjusted,
I try.
happy individual.
And I think that being creative helps me with that. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not going to say I have never had problems because then
Obviously.
I'd be a big douche.
So far, my life's been perfect.
Yeah, so far my life's been perfect and I'm very judgmental on other people. Like, why do you have to have problems? I mean,
Just stop having them.
don't have problems.
Yeah, it's that simple.
I think maybe what you see is like what you see of the positivity is more like how I try to process it.
Hmm.
I try to process it, any problems or whatever that I'm having and into something that's positive if I can do it.
Yeah.
And not everything in my show is like positive and rosy. We have problems, there's
Yeah.
problems that we have. I had a like a dilemma of like what to call I almost got beat up one time by a transgender because the whole world was new to me and I introduced somebody as him
Yeah.
rather than her and I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
And they
so
got that mad they were
they
gonna
got really
beat you
mad
up?
afterwards. They were like, you call me a woman and like was physical with me, like grabbed me.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I might have even joked about it afterwards. I was like, hey, that was, like he was or she.
You apologize like that, and they still got that like serious with you though?
They let me go. I mean, they thought that because it was a gay event,
Yeah.
and so they probably thought that I should have known
Uh,
as the host of this gay event. But I mean, I learned my lesson, but it inspired me to write a song that I perform now called No Gender Love Jam, where I was like, I just don't even go near gender if it's gonna be that big of a deal. Like I'm like, so I was like,
it's
if
a
I
sensitive topic right now.
I wrote a
Yeah,
love
it's so
song
sensitive.
that doesn't have any gender articles in it. So every time I refer to somebody, it's a robot voice. And I don't even say it. Like it's a robot voice. It's like, this is a no gender love jam. Because you don't have to say woman or man, right? And it's like, you're the creature I adore, the mortal in my heart's core. I never found more in a human species life form. It's very universal.
Everybody can enjoy it.
Right.
That's really nice. I like that.
So that's where that came from.
That's perfect. So you have to do a lot of traveling. How much traveling is required for you to maintain this as like your source of income? Like how often do you get to stay home versus how much you have to add on to
Well, it just
getting
depends
out
how much
there?
I'm getting paid every time I go out, right? But
True.
I mean, look, there's honestly almost every show I do is different, you know. There's so many sources of like how I get work that I'm just like I just want to keep busy. I just want to like have stuff coming in, whether it's like touring or an acting work or hosting work or, sometimes I've done some stuff that's like branded content where I've made content for a brand. So, in that, like if I'm doing that kind of thing, I would be in town. I just want to like keep my calendar full with stuff that's bringing in, life sustaining income.
Hmm.
Uh, and I just feel like, well, sometimes I'll do shows or do stuff for cheaper than I would at other times because there's another value to it. I I think that like this year though has been a year where I've started turning some stuff down because luckily gotten busy I've been pretty busy this year. So there's certain things that's like it's maybe not worth the time that you spend going to another city and buying an airfare and staying there for 2-3 days when I could be in town shooting something that is going to earn me a million more fans or whatever, earn
Mhm.
me 50,000 more fans or something,
Yeah.
so that when I do go to that town, it's much more worth it for everybody involved. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. So you
Yeah.
know what kind of crowd you might be bringing in when you're
Yeah.
going to different places too.
For me, like as far as like touring, the blueprint, I guess, for a touring comedian is, you start as a comedian doing these things called bringer shows, where you're local here in LA or wherever you are, and they're like, we need you to bring 10 people in. So you bring their 10 people. They probably don't want to be there. They sit through hours of this comedy that they may not want to see. And you go on for 10 minutes and they force laugh at you or whatever. Maybe you get some laughs.
Yeah.
Um, and then you're like, man, I just can't wait till I stop doing bringer shows. And then you become like a headliner. And I'm still doing bringer shows. Like, I'm responsible for bringing people out to the shows or inspiring people to come out to the shows, whether it's like me directly reaching out to my fans or the club being able to advertise me and it inspiring people to want to come in.
Sure.
So it's all about, when you're on the road, it's like what's your draw gonna be, right? That's what affects how much you can make out there. Yeah. So it's very similar to I believe, the music business.
As far as like touring musicians and everything
Yeah.
like that.
It's pretty similar.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you consider that like a good thing about the job or a bad thing that you have to travel so much?
I like traveling.
Hmm.
I will say, like, I've been doing some tours. I just did a tour in May all over Texas, and it was exciting because I was doing a lot of places for the first time, a lot of cities for the first time, and they were going really well. We were selling out most of the shows or packing it, and it was exciting, but it was exhausting. It was exhausting because Texas is the biggest state.
I know. It's huge. It's flat.
Yeah, and my shows were hours apart. So there were some days where I had to drive, do the show at night, drive 3-4 hours, and you're stopping on the way because you got to pee and you got to eat or you got to get gas or whatever.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty much the full day you're driving. Then you're getting to the venue, you're setting up, you set up your merch, you set up your audio, you do a VIP pre-show meet and greet. So not only are you just doing the show, sometimes you're doing 2 shows at night, sometimes you're doing a VIP meet and greet, you're selling merch afterwards. So like that window of time is like from when you get to the venue, you're setting up from 5 o'clock and you're leaving maybe midnight or something. And then you got to go to sleep and wake up early the next day and drive again. So it's like over and over and over. That gets pretty tiring. So,
Yeah, I can
yeah.
only imagine.
Yeah.
You have to set up your audio?
Well, comedy clubs, I do musical comedy. So
Yeah.
a lot of comedians, or most comedians, are just going up there and, talking on the mic. But I have a very minimal stuff that I'm setting up.
Yeah.
But still, I like to test it out. And, if I don't have somebody, this tour, I actually had somebody on some of the dates to help me run the sound. So he knew what I was doing and he knew
That's good.
my cues and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
sometimes I don't have that. Most of the time, I don't have that. It was the first time I ever did it.
Yeah.
So I have to.
I saw you one time where you had to like give the audio person like notes in the middle of your set. And I was like, that's got to be frustrating for him.
Yeah, I kind of try to make it part of the thing because I've done it so many times where like some people get confused in the middle of it, and you're like, you got to just make it seem
Yeah.
like, make it part of the show.
Sure.
So it doesn't. So I always tell that person who's running my stuff, I'm like, if I make fun of stuff, do not take it personally. I'm just, and I'm not mean to them, but
Right.
I just get like,
Which I may comment on your.
yeah, I may get visibly frustrated. I'm not frustrated inside. I'm just having fun with it. So don't, I always tell them, don't take it personally.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You're not hurting any audio people's feelings.
Right. Because they have
Gosh.
thin skin.
Do they?
I don't know. I'll tell you, most
Just
audio
like these
people think
poor
they know
audio
everything.
men.
Most audio people think, well, you have worked in that
I
industry.
work with a lot of audio men.
They think they know everything about audio. And I'll give them the simplest thing. I have this program on my computer, on my iPad that I use for my show called Soundboard. And it's
Yeah.
it's music cues. There's a series of squares that say the title on them. And I say, when I tell you to hit that one that says X, hit it. You just push it one time. And then when I say stop, or cut symbol, you press it again, and that's it. And they do not get it. Sometimes the more
They're
professional,
like, it cannot possibly be that simple.
right? It's
They'll-
it's weird. Like
They get super deep with it.
I'll tell a professional sound person to do it, and I'd say like half the time they'll mess it up like really bad, and then I'll have a like college student do it, and they're perfect.
And they go, okay. So
Yeah.
I just touch
Yeah,
that.
it's easy.
Perfect.
It's like common sense. Like a baby could almost do it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's really simple.
I think we do that with everything in our lives that we have a lot of knowledge about, though.
Yeah.
It's that overthinking.
They get in their head. They're overthinking. And I'm fully branded. And they're like, but maybe I have to add something because I'm a sound person. I'm a professional. I want to make it even more special. I'm like, nah, dude, just hit it.
Like, I'm Brandon. I figured it out.
Yeah.
I do all this traveling.
I'm so branded.
Yeah.
That should be my next tour. So branded.
So branded. Okay.
Well, my next tour, I think, is going to be called the Summer Tour, which is just going to be a few dates. Summer is going to be called SPF 17. And it's going to be, the poster is going to be me, just my forehead and my eyes looking up at it. And I'm totally burned, except for it's written in sunscreen SPF 17 tour.
That's clever. That's design right there.
I've already done this kind of tour with, I did one called Zero SPF tour, but it was a few years ago.
Zero SPF?
Yeah. And I was burned all over my body. And then it said it on my chest. Yeah. So, but it's 2017. It's trying to bring that SPF tour back, but it's SPF 17. And then I'm thinking in the fall is because I do this show called Cultura about culture.
Yes.
Online.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to do the Cultura tour. I think it'd be fun.
I say, why not?
I say, why not? My last one was called Gringo de Mayo.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it was good. People loved it. Cultura tour. And then during the day, I'll go out and shoot episodes for Cultura.
Mm-hmm.
And then at night, I'll do shows. By day, documentarian. By night, badass comedian.
That's perfect. Do you speak Spanish?
Simón, ¿habla español también?
Un poquito.
Okay, that means a little. If you're listening. So, yes, I speak Spanish.
I went to a Spanish immersion school, actually.
Immersion school?
Immersion.
Oh,
Spanish
I thought it was like an emergency school. You're like, you need to learn it now.
School. It's very serious.
I went to immersion school?
It's kindergarten all the way through middle school.
So you're fluent?
They speak Spanish to you. You know what the weird thing is, though? I am technically fluent, but the speech is the first thing to go. So I'm uncomfortable speaking.
Yeah.
But like if I'm listening to somebody,
you understand
it perfectly. I can read it perfectly. I can still write it.
Yeah.
But when I speak it, it's just a lot it comes a lot slower to me.
I forget the conjugations. Like I was fluent. It was my minor in college. Mm-hmm. And then when I go on trips to Spanish speaking countries, it comes back. And then I've just been trying to exercise it more. Yeah.
When people, the problem with my instinct though is that somebody speaks Spanish to me and I just speak back in English.
Oh, right.
I do that thing where I just go, oh, never mind. I'm just gonna speak on my own.
We could try to do the rest of the podcast in Spanish if you want to practice. I won't judge you.
We could try, and it would be terrible.
El podcast. How do you say podcast? El cast de pod.
That would be the only other way I'd know how to say it. It's probably just podcast, huh?
Yeah, well,
because that's a new and invented word.
Yeah, let's look it up on Google Translate.
In the future,
maybe it's word. Called something weird. Let's see. El podcast. El podcast. I'm looking it up. Google Translate. Okay, here we go. Podcast. Thank you guys for bearing with us. I know you can't see this. Podcast in Spanish. Oh, I just put in and Spanish came up. So this is a question that other people have asked.
People need to know this.
Okay. We were right. Yes. Okay. It's podcast, but they spell it with a capital. I don't know. Why is it a proper noun? Let's hear how Google Translate. I put in lowercase and they spit back podcast. They're like, it's a proper noun.
And an uppercase.
Yeah, it's uppercase.
That's
okay,
hilarious.
Let's listen how they say it.
Podcast.
So
podcast. They said in Castilian Spanish. Podcast.
Podcast.
So as long as you put a little accent on it, you're saying it right.
Yeah, they're trying to do an accent in English though. Podcast, because in Spanish it would be podcast. Podcast. Oh yeah, I guess they're saying it. Podcast.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
podcast.
like a computer sounded voice anyway.
Do you want to know 9 great Spanish podcasts every Spanish learner should listen to?
Oh,
Okay.
we're learning stuff.
I'm looking this up. This is on fluentu.com. According to fluentu.com, here's some 9 Spanish podcasts you should listen to. I'm scrolling. Oh, now it's only 7. Okay, 7 Spanish podcasts you should be listening to. Why did they say 9 in the title and they only deliver 7?
Lies.
2 of them suck or what?
Probably.
Audiria. Oh, that's an ad. Sorry. Is it? Audiria, I think, is one. It's a website, free and daily Spanish podcast. Coffee Break Spanish. Well, why don't they put it in Spanish? Let's start there. Coffee Break. Why you call it Coffee Break? You got to call it a momento de café. That's what that would be.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Sounds peaceful.
Spanish Pod 101. Okay.
I like that name. It's clear. I know what I'm getting.
Spanish Obsessed. That's number 4. I am obsessed. Obsessido. Obsessido. Espanol obsessido. I can't stop speaking it. No puedo parar hablándolo. En serio.
That's the accent you come out with when you listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's their thing.
Okay, and then Language Trek.
Okay.
All these are in
We're going
English.
through a journey.
There's not been one in Spanish yet. I guess it's for learners.
Because it's they're learning. They don't know. They
Okay.
wouldn't know they wouldn't know it was a podcast for them if it was in Spanish, right?
Yes,
They don't
study.
speak it yet.
There's one, studyspanish.com. These are websites, and I guess they have podcasts. How about this one? Very creative name.
Yeah.
Podcastinspanish.org.
Shh. But you
Man,
know
where
what
did they
you're
come up with
getting.
this? Notes in Spanish.
Their
and
brand
then
is clear.
number 9. Oh, they're very considerate because Fluent U is number 9. And this is their website.
They see.
So like,
what they
you
did
know
there?
what? Let's save the best for last.
See what they did there? That was
Yeah.
all for them.
Man, I feel so had right now.
They wrote that just so you would get to the bottom and be like, Fluent you.
I feel
me.
fooled by AdWords.
Aren't we all?
Wow, that was a lot of information. I feel like Ryan Seacrest on his new show.
Have you watched him on the new...
Kathy Lee and Ryan.
have
Is
you
there
seen
with
that? No, it's...
Kelly Ripa?
Yes.
What's that show?
My brain said Katie
He's the
Couric.
new
Also
Regis.
I haven't been able to watch it.
He just sits there and reads lists like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what they do on that? I haven't watched that show maybe in a billion years. Since Regis was on it. And then I watched it on accident because I couldn't find the remote.
And then that athlete guy with the gap teeth,
Yeah, he was on
Michael
there for a
Strahan.
minute.
He was awesome.
He was on there for a minute, huh? I never saw him, though.
He was like an athletic Alfred E. Newman with that smile. He was like football player meets Alfred E. Newman from Mad Magazine.
That's a wonderful combo.
Yeah.
I like that. You see they're bringing American Idol back already?
Really?
Yeah.
It was off for like 2 years.
Was it even... I don't even think it was 2 years.
They're bringing
right?
it back?
It's like a year?
Well, who's going to host it then?
That's my question.
They should give
Do
it
you
to
think-
Brian Dunkelman, the guy who got fired.
Wouldn't that be a twist?
Yeah.
That would be such a twist.
Who's going to say, this is American Idol? He would always say it like that. That's how Ryan Seacrest would say, this. Go back and listen to
With
it.
an accent?
This. I don't know why he would say this, but he would almost say it. This. He said it in Spanish.
Oh,
This is American Idol.
that's interesting.
That's the pause. He would go, this pause is American Idol. There was probably said pause on the teleprompter.
When I went to a taping of Jimmy Kimmel, I was
Mhm.
sitting right next to the teleprompter, and I was super curious, because I'm like a behind the scenes person. So I was looking at him reading the teleprompter, and I kept turning around to check to see like how specific it was. All of the ad libs were written in.
What?
All the ad
Then
libs.
it's not an ad lib.
So even if the audience laughed and he was like, "I know, right?" That was on the teleprompter. That he said,
Wow.
"I know, right?" Because they expected the audience to laugh.
See?
I was like, "Dang, he's not saying
Those writers are
anything.
technicians.
He's not even saying anything from his own brain. It's crazy."
Well, what he's saying is the inflection behind it. He's really bringing it to life,
He is I give him that.
you know? Well,
He
they have
said
to
it out
time
loud.
everything out,
Yeah,
you
they
know?
do.
So,
Yeah, it's fascinating. How much would you have to pay Ryan Seacrest to go back to American Idol, though? now that he's a daytime man?
I mean, he probably would do it again. I wonder who the judges would be. Same, it's gonna be interesting to see. I should audition. This is a no and gender love jam, 'cause you don't have to say woman or man.
They'd be like, what?
Yeah, I sing. I sing. This is a song about the summer solstice.
Okay.
Here we go. I want to do it all night long in the summer in Alaska, 'cause the night's only 3 minutes long. You can play hard to get, baby, we got time. Nighttime don't start until 2:59. 3 minutes to get our sex on, doing more global warming than Exxon. We can cuddle and kiss with our noses. I'm that Jewish Eskimo. Call me Eskimoses. And you can save the rest for December. That's when I can do it all day in the winter. All day long. In the winter in Alaska. 'Cause the day's twice as long as this song.
That's hilarious.
Thanks.
That's hilarious.
I
Just off
only
the
had-
cuff, too.
Well, no, I wrote that before.
You gotta. Oh,
I
yeah.
I wrote that. I
But you
read
just
that
were
off the
ready.
Jimmy Kimmel teleprompter.
You're. That guy's good.
Yeah,
That's good. But see, you're ready for your American Idol audition. You're good to go.
I'm ready.
You're good to go.
I just gave you a sample of the song. I didn't give you the whole thing.
Well, no, you can't give it all away.
No, I
You
mean,
can't give it all away.
it's actually in 2 days. It's summer solstice.
Is it really?
Yeah, we're doing this on June 19th, and then 21st is summer solstice.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
This is probably going to come out tomorrow. 20th. Almost.
Oh, wow. So you guys have time to prepare. I think I'm gonna post. I'm gonna post one of that song on my Facebook page, a performance of it. There you'll be able to see the rest of it.
Okay.
I've been waiting so long, and it's finally here. The summer solstice, the longest day of the year. We don't need snow shovels. We're lowering snow levels. We're making snow angels into snow devils. That part won't be on there because that's the old version. I redid it.
Oh, so that's that bonus content.
Yeah, bonus content. You want the bonus content? Okay, here we go. I'm a love doctor, and my minutes are billable. You'll be screaming my name until the first syllable, because it's a short day. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
I was
That's
like,
hilarious.
like Sarah Palin, you're drill, baby, drillable, because she's from Alaska. But
True.
if your name is Bristol, you best be on the pillable, right? Thrill you in Wasilla, make it stank in Fairbanks. In Juneau, you know, I'ma work it out. I admit it, I might not hit it all night in Sitka, because the night is 6 minutes. It's further south, because geography.
You're getting all technical. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. That's hilarious. So that's perfect timing.
Yeah.
That's perfect timing. I worked as an X Factor PA for a little bit.
Oh, X Factor.
Yeah. Did you
I
ever
like
watch that show?
Yeah, that's like America's Got Talent almost, right?
Yeah, something like that. It was a Simon Cowell one where he was the judge, right? Yeah. I did the casting call stuff, like the cattle call,
Okay.
where it's like everybody that goes in for the initial auditions
Mhm.
and they sit in front of like producers and random people that were judging them. And it was kind of like a bummer
Yeah,
because people go in, right?
right.
And they send through the really good people
Mm-hmm.
and then they sent through like
The bad
the
people?
bad people because, you know, they're going to be on the
And-
show.
Yeah.
But some of these people knew they were bad and they were going in there because they knew they were bad and they were just trying to get
okay.
on the show.
Just getting attention.
Yeah. And then there were people that went in there that were not very good and you can hear their audition and they got a yes and they came out and they were so excited and then you had to be like, yay. That's great.
They got a yes and they were bad.
Yeah.
And because they just wanted to exploit them more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
I did America's Got Talent, so I
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it didn't I feel so neutral about it
Mm-hmm.
because it didn't help my career and it didn't hurt my career, but it was a long process. I've never really been into that kind of like it's not an enjoyable like way for me to do like to be judged on a show, but I figured
Yeah.
I'd do it and I did it.
Seems
and
stressful.
it was well, the way they did it the year I was in it, 2013, they had you do the first audition I did in the Pantages Theater. It was amazing. Got a standing ovation,
Ooh.
but they never showed that on TV.
Yeah, 'cause you still got to make the cut to the
Yeah.
TV. Yeah, that's a bummer.
So I made it to the Vegas round, and the Vegas round was hell week. That was torturous. They had us in for a full week sitting in this like conference room in a hotel in Vegas wearing the same clothes that we wore in our audition. And I wore a like long sleeve shirt with a sweater over it, and it was in Vegas and it was 108 degrees and I had to be in the same clothes.
Right.
This was for 5 days.
Oh.
I was in the same clothes and we were in this. It was like an insane asylum because it's like 400 needy performers trying to perform and impress you for some reason. Like you're in the same boat with them. They're all trying to impress you. And I'm like, I'd love to be getting some work done right now. And you can't work on your computer because everyone will talk to you. People keep talking to you and you just be interrupted. And the food they gave you was not, I mean, I'm a very healthy eater.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
not good food, huh?
I had to go to Whole Foods every day and get my own stuff and bring it in.
Oh, dang. That
So,
sounds frustrating.
It just was, the range of performers was from very amateur to professional. And, by that time I was not I feel like, I've done some things in my career at least where I'm like, man, this is like going back a couple years, you got to like sit in this room and just, oh my God.
Once you're a part of like that big crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just treat everybody the same. Doesn't matter.
And they do produce the show where, they know, from working in it, they pick who, a lot of times I've already picked who's going on.
Yeah. They know what they're looking for.
But it was a cool experience to do it. And, it was to be able to see what it was, I've done it and I don't think I need to do it again.
I know it is crazy. It's crazy. It was like 17, 18-hour days when I was working. Wow. And I don't live in LA.
Yeah.
Right. So I was coming up here and I was doing 18-hour days, driving in LA traffic to sleep on somebody's couch for like an hour and then drive in LA traffic back. Anytime I sat down, I immediately fell asleep. Ugh. That's how tired I got.
That's the worst.
Then I tried to drive back to San Diego. Terrible idea.
My God.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I had to take a nap on some random neighborhood, pulled my car over. I had to get off the freeway because I was doing that sleep swerve.
I've done it.
Yeah, hard. I went from the slow lane to the fast lane.
Oh.
Somebody honked, woke me up, and I was like, oh my God. And I just got off the freeway, pulled into a neighborhood, the nearest like safe looking area I could find. Didn't even get my car turned off.
And you were sleeping.
I threw my seat back and I fell asleep for 4 hours.
Oh my God.
That's how tired.
4 hours in your car.
Stupid?
That's hard to do because it's very
With my
uncomfortable.
car on.
Your car on.
Idling for 4 hours.
And you drive a stick. You had to have that clutch pressed in the whole time. I don't know how they work.
I threw it in neutral and put my parking brake up.
Oh, God. Like I slept with the clutch in.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
It's Dane. Don't do that. Disclaimer, don't do that. Thanks, Eric, for
That's
doing
it?
this. Yeah, that's
that was okay. As soon as you fall asleep in your car, it's time to go. I like that abrupt ending.
You like it?
Yeah.
Well, I do an outro. They're going to hear an outro.
Oh, okay. So it hasn't ended yet. All right. So much for that. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Eric. Bam. That's it for this one, guys. I made it safely back to San Diego this week with no sleep swerving. Thanks for listening, and I hope you'll keep joining me every Tuesday for new podcasts. If you're feeling friendly today, subscribe and leave a nice rating on iTunes, or even just share it with one person this week. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to keep in touch with me, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Courtney Diamond, or you can head over to CourtneyDiamond.com to keep up with my blog. And with that, I'm out of here. Hope you guys all have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon.